As anime fans, I think at one point or another, all of us have had at least the slight dream to create your own anime. However, the dream of making an anime for most anime fans and even people who have a whole lot of money was always exactly that. Just a dream. However, one absolute legend to the anime YouTube community was finally able to get it done, because on September 20th, alongside Studio Daisy and Geeks Plus, Gigguk was finally able to release his first anime short film called Baan. Now, if you don't know who Gigguk is, he is one of the founding fathers of anime YouTube, and he's always done his best to go about doing things the right way. And because of that, he's been able to do some revolutionary things like watch certain anime like Dororo or Overlord on stream. This isn't somebody who's doing this for money. This isn't somebody who just likes anime. This is someone who has a deep care for the culture itself and has done so much to lay the groundwork to make it possible for people like me to make videos on these kind of things. When you get to a bigger point on YouTube or streaming in general, it's pretty easy to just sit at your desktop, make your same videos, and kind of play it safe. But Gigguk is somebody who's always tried to push the boundaries and move the anime content sphere forward. And I think what encapsulates that the best is his newest work, Baan. Now, before I get into the actual review of it, I just want you guys to know this is going to be a glaze session. It's not that this anime is perfect, but it's that I genuinely don't have any complaints other than maybe that I wish it was longer. So if you're one of those people who's gonna get upset that I'm glazing this show, then click off the video now. This isn't good just for a YouTuber's anime, this is just a good short film. Baan is about two different main characters. One, Daichi, who is a human from our world, and Rin, one of the inhabitants of Euthania. In this story, there is a way to travel between the two worlds, almost like a train system that will teleport you from one world to the other. And the story follows the two protagonists both on their journey into the other world. And from the second we see Euthania, it is just oozing with passion. It is clearly influenced heavily by Thai and Southeast Asian culture, and opposed to your usual fantasy world, this one is extremely unique and leaves a massive impression on you. It was so extremely risky to not go for your basic Lord of the Rings D&D style fantasy world in a short film that only has 18 minutes of runtime, but because of that, it really paid off, and the world ends up leaving a massive impression on you. It's a straight up masterclass in show not tell storytelling, because you see all these things and they don't have to tell you anything about them, but as the audience, you're able to infer so many things from just the small little bits we get to see of this world, which in my opinion left me so much more connected with it. And it's pretty clear just from watching it that this world wasn't created just for an 18-minute anime. It's an entire world that was created with its own history, its own economy, its own races. Like, there was so much thought put into this, and as somebody who likes isekai myself, I really appreciate this aspect of it. The animation is gorgeous, again, not just for a YouTuber's anime, but just for anime in general. I genuinely really like the art style, and I think Studio Daisy is one I will be looking at going forward. The music is by Kevin Pankin, and if you know anything about anime music, you know that the soundtrack is going to be an absolute banger when you see this name tied to a show. And in line with that, this music absolutely slaps. Like, I cannot wait for this soundtrack to get released so I can use it in future videos, because it's just really good. And finally, I think one of the biggest standouts to me was the voice acting, specifically the dub voice acting. Now, the Japanese voice acting was really good, as it has many established voice actors playing roles in it, but I think this is one of those rare anime where you can watch either the sub or the dub and it'll be just as good as if you watch the other one first. Now, I watched it in Japanese first, and then I went and watched it in English in preparation for this video, and I was so blown away by the voice acting of Sid Snap. Now, I know she's done like voice acting stuff in the past, but she just like absolutely nailed the character of Rin. Is that probably because she was there for the entire creation of this anime and also is the wife of the person who created it? Yes. But in an anime that has Alex Lee, arguably the current best dub voice actor, to still stand out while being a co-star with this guy is absolutely insane. Like, if going into this I didn't know that she was the one playing that role, I would not have recognized her, and that is a great thing. Okay, but finally back to the story. The film follows Daichi and Rin and their experiences while in each other's different worlds. We see Rin come to Earth and start to do things like apply for jobs, where she's rejected from 13 jobs in a row, and then she finally lands her 14th job. However, being different in this place makes it a little bit harder for her to get used to everything. And we see Daichi as he begins to do things he's always wanted to do, while also not having to worry about his daily struggles. This is when he stumbles across the place that Rin is from, and there's a festival taking place. Now, this is another part where it's a lot of show don't tell, and as fans, we can infer what this festival is, because we see the dragon that you can clearly guess that the people of this town worship shed its skin on the giant coils sticking out of the ground. And when this happens, you see one of the characters take a larva out of the dragon who is assumedly going to die and give it to a much younger version of Rin. And then they tell her to fly away, and then you see all these monsters come running at the dragon, probably trying to eat it, while the adults try and defend it. Which, just on a small side tangent, the animation here was really good. It actually looked like Mushoku Tensei-esque. And as Rin is frantically flying away, we see her smack into Daichi. And then it cuts to Daichi and the young version of Rin standing at what is assumedly her parents' graves. And that's when Daichi realizes, this is my home. I have found my purpose. I have found where I truly belong. Daichi pretty much becoming her new father. And that's when we get Rin's reasoning for why she came to Earth, because she felt as if she was a burden on Daichi from the moment that he took her in. And she doesn't want to put that burden on him anymore, which I think is something that a lot of us can relate to with our parents, or even if you're somebody who has adopted parents. I think a lot of us can relate to that feeling of not wanting to put all that pressure on them anymore. Anyway, we see more of Rin in her everyday life as things start to get harder and harder for her, and that's when she runs into her aunt, who shows her a video from Daichi, who is her dad at this point. And I think this is probably the most powerful scene in the entire film. And basically the gist of that message is, Rin, I know you've been working really hard, I have no doubt, but just know you don't need to push yourself too much. You can always come back home. And that's when she decides that it's time to return home. And this is my very favorite scene in the entire film, and it's when she teleports back home. When she gets out, she starts walking, and then she gets into a slow jog. And then she goes into a full-on sprint into flying into the air, and this scene just encapsulates that excitement of finally getting back into your comfort zone. And as much as I think the true message and the true point of this story is to encapsulate that feeling of getting home, this scene invoked the feeling to me of chasing your dream, going from doing something you don't like to doing something you do like, maybe living somewhere you don't like to living somewhere that you do like, being around people you don't like to incorporating people who you genuinely care about in your life. I think home in this scene can mean so many different things, and I think that is such a powerful message, and it's crazy that an 18-minute short film was able to invoke that feeling in me. I am someone who has felt this way many times without even being in the position to be able to move far away from home or go on really long trips, which is why to me this scene isn't just talking about home in general. Home can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be where your family is. It doesn't have to be where your friends are. Home is wherever you're the happiest, wherever you're the most comfortable, where you can just be you. And man, to say that this film was beautiful would be an understatement. Like, again, this might not be exactly what the creator wanted me to feel while watching the scene. It might not be what he felt while writing the scene, but that's what makes a film or a show or a piece of media like this so special, is when I can derive my own meaning, my own feelings from it, and they are just as valid as the person who created it. It's really good. This is a very deeply personal story to the creator of it, Gigguk. Everything from the music, the animation, the voice acting, the writing was filled with so much passion and given so much care. This is a story that doesn't need to outright tell you its message. It's a message you feel, and some people aren't going to feel that message the same way as others. Some people might not enjoy that feeling, and others will be left with a deep impression that will probably stick for a really long time, and I think I'm in that camp. Because this is a story where the creator just put all of his feelings and emotions into it, and on screen there is a coherent narrative, yes, but it's one of those rare anime that I really think everybody can get a different feeling and a different vibe from, and it's just really good. I cannot stress enough that I'm not just talking about Baan the way that I am because it's the first anime made by a YouTuber, or even because it's the biggest anime YouTuber who made it. But at its core, it's just the way that Baan made me feel. And I can't really talk about this without diving into the impact it has on the anime culture and specifically anime content creators as well. Like I said at the start, like, I think every anime fan has really wanted to be able to go in and make their own anime. And it's so special that somebody who has done things the right way, who has not cut any corners, who has literally paved the way for people to make anime content, is the one that was finally able to make their anime, and not just their anime, a really good one. And one of the things that truly makes this anime special to me is it made me realize just how much passion is put into every project. I'm familiar with Gigguk, and I know how much this product means to him. And in that, I was able to see all of the passion that was put into this project, and that really opened opened my eyes to just how many passionate people are on every anime project. Like, it's so obvious that there are always people who are working on projects that are passionate about it, but it's seeing someone like Gigguk, who's somebody who I admire and have watched their videos, doing something extremely special like this and caring so much about it, that makes you realize just how many passionate people are on any given project. And I really hope that even the people who don't like this film, and also the people who really enjoyed it like myself and like most people I think, will come away just seeing the passion that was put into this project and take that and apply it to other anime as well. We're in a time where so many people are overcritical of anime. They're so willing to call them bad just because the standard of what a good anime is has been set so high. I think that people should learn from this anime and take the level of charitability they went into watching this anime with and apply it to some other shows. Because at the end of the day, there's real people who are creating those shows. And like, I hate to keep repeating myself, but Baan is actually just genuinely a very, very good short film. Aside from me being familiar with Gigguk because I love his content, aside from it being a YouTuber self-funded anime, it is just a good 18 minutes of anime. I think the story behind how this anime was made and the way that everybody is approaching watching this anime should really set an example to a lot of us anime content creators and just anime fans in general, that for most anime, they exist because someone had a story they wanted to tell, and this anime is a product of that. And I think we need to internalize that fact, especially with how much the anime community has changed. Like, there probably isn't another anime creator who's done as much for the anime content creation space as Gigguk has, and I kind of want to just leave the video off with this message. Thank you, Gigguk. Thank you for this anime. Thank you for the message. Thank you for what this message means to me, and thank you for everything you've done to further this community. You have truly been a massive inspiration to most people trying to make anime content. And like I said at the start, I know there's people who are going to be mad and say that I just was glazing Gigguk for 12 minutes, but to be honest, I don't care. Peace.